The Grizzlies entered last night's game against the Bucks with a chance to secure the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Sure, the Bucks basically played their B team with the 1 seed in the East locked up, but no game in today's NBA is a cakewalk. Hey, we just saw the Warriors lose to the Nuggets B team the other night. The Grizzlies pulled off a 23-point win over the Bucks, and they can thank Jaren Jackson Jr. for that. He finished with 36 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 blocks in the victory, looking like Memphis' best player in the process. He's arguably the best defensive player in all of the NBA at only 23 years old, and is likely going to win the 2023 Defensive Player of the Year award. His generational defensive ability is what makes what we've seen from him as of late so special. He's always been a great defender, but he's also showing elite scoring ability as well as of late. Since March 15th, Triple J has averaged 26 points per game, making him one of the league's best scoring big men. This level of performance on both ends will make him one of the league's best two-way stars, joining the tier of players like Giannis, Anthony Davis, and Joel Embiid. He was already an all-star this season, but if he can remain a 25-plus point per game scorer, he'll be a perennial All-NBA member and have a truly unbelievable ceiling. He is already arguably the league's best defender, so if he can become one of the best scorers as well, it will make him one of the league's most valuable players, and take the Grizzlies to the next level. To truly understand how good Jackson has been and can become, let's take a look at his young career so far, and how well he's played of late. Before we get into the Jaren Jackson offensive evolution, if you enjoy my content and watch a few videos of mine, think about subscribing. 96% of my viewers are actually not subscribed, so if you watched me before and enjoy the content, drop a sub and comment down below. It really helps the channel. Jaren Jackson Jr. was selected with the 4th overall pick in the 2018 NBA Draft out of Michigan State by the Memphis Grizzlies. This pick signaled a move on from the grit and grind era in Memphis. Tony Allen and Zach Randolph were both already off the team, but Mike Conley and Marc Gasol were still on the team at the time. However, Jackson was clearly a future replacement for Gasol and was hopefully the next great big man for the franchise. And this signal turned out to be true, as Jackson's rookie season ended up being the last year that either Conley or Gasol played for Memphis. Now let's take a look at Jackson's rookie season. He averaged 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 1.4 blocks per game. He was as good as the team should have reasonably expected, and he made first-team All-Rookie as a result of his play. Things were looking up in Memphis, but the team missed the playoffs again in his rookie year, which allowed them to draft Ja Morant the next year, securing the duo of the franchise for years to come. Let's take a look at the jump he had in year 2. His scoring jumped from 14 to 17 points per game, and he averaged 5 rebounds and 1.6 blocks per. His improvement in year 2 made him look like a near lock to be a future All-Star. However, we hadn't even seen a glimpse of how great he would end up being defensively. His performance dipped slightly in year 3, but I want to skip that and talk about last season, because that's where he established himself as one of the league's best defenders. In the 2022 season, Jackson averaged 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 2.3 blocks per game. He led the league in blocks per game, and despite somewhat bafflingly not being a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, he had a real case at winning the award, and he would still argue that he deserved it. He was the best rim protector in the league, and his impact on that end of the floor played a huge part in the Grizzlies shocking everyone, and finishing second in the Western Conference last season. Yet despite his elite defensive performance, he still wasn't really wowing anyone on the offensive end at only 16 points and a lowly 42% from the field. With his level of scoring and defense last season, he looked like a player that could be as valuable as someone like Rudy Gobert or even Bam Adebayo, but not necessarily a true superstar, more of a one-way specialist. Now let's take a look at this season as a whole before we look into his recent stretch. His performance has picked up on both ends of the floor. He's somehow taken even another step defensively, going from a top-tier defender to its best. He's again leading the league in blocks per game at 3.0 and is averaging a steal per game as well. He's the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year, and it's basically become a two-man race between him and Bucks rim protector Brook Lopez. I think he's going to win the award, and his block percentage numbers are absurd at 9.6, leading the league for the second straight season. He's still had some foul troubles that have limited his minutes to under 30 per game, but his per 36 block number of 3.8 is actually insane. His 7 rebounds per game and 18.3 points per game have also both taken jumps from last season. His performance since March 15th is where we've seen the biggest jump though, in the first real glance into how high his ceiling truly is. This started over the time that Ja Morant was away from the team due to the off-the-court issue, and while many thought it was because he was the main option, it has continued upon Ja's return. The stretches the guy seems to have given him the confidence he needed, and he's been truly phenomenal. In the 13-game stretch, Jackson has averaged 26 points, 7.4 rebounds, 2.6 blocks, and 1 steal per game, while shooting 57% from the field and 42% from 3. This level of scoring would make him the league's 12th leading scorer if sustained over the entire year, and that's on top of being the league's best defender. This two-way value would immediately make him one of the league's most valuable players, and give the Grizzlies 2 legitimate superstars. He's been one of the league's best players over the past month, but it seems to be going under the radar. To put it in perspective, let's look at Triple J's performance compared to some of the league's other great two-way stars. Let's first look at Anthony Davis's first year with the Lakers in 2020. It was a season that solidified people's view of him as one of the league's top 5 players and put him in the Defensive Player of the Year race. AD averaged 26 points, 9 rebounds, and 2.3 blocks per game. The scoring is nearly identical, and Jackson outdoes him on the defensive end. He's legitimately playing at that level right now. Next, let's look at Joel Embiid's 2021 season, the first year he was really viewed as an MVP candidate. He averaged 28.5 points, 11 rebounds, and 1.4 blocks per game. The scoring is just a small step above Jackson's, and Triple J has easily outperformed the shot blocking numbers. Finally, let's look at Giannis' first MVP season in 2019, where he averaged 28 points, 12 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks per game. His scoring was a slight step above Jackson as well, but once again Jackson easily leads as a shot blocker. Yes, his rebounds have been noticeably behind the 3 guys I just mentioned, but if Jackson becomes a full-time center and gets his fouls in check, he will become a similar rebounder, and his scoring could jump even higher. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been one of the league's best defenders for a couple of seasons now, if not its best. However, he's been just an average scorer, at under 20 points per in each of his first 5 seasons. Yet that's starting to look up as of late. Over his last 13 games, he's putting up 26 points a night, and maintaining his defense as well, with 2.6 blocks per game over that span. He's emerging as one of the league's best two-way stars, and his value is going through the roof. His ceiling is so much higher than people think, and his newfound scoring ability can put him in the tier of guys like Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, and Giannis, who are some of the most valuable players on both ends. He's going through an offensive evolution, and his next level can make the Grizzlies contenders for years to come. It's going under the radar, but if you hadn't noticed, it's time to realize just how great Jackson is becoming. Thanks for watching. I'm Herm. Have a good one.